710 ESPN.
Lakers talk is on.
I think this is a big moment for LeBron's legacy.
The legacy of the King continues with the purple and gold.
Now he's got 4 championships with 3 separate teams and 4 finals MVPs. He's doing things that other players just never did before. And the Lakers are as positioned right now to go back-to-back next year with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as good as any other team in the league.
The home of LeBron and the 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers is 710 ESPN, and this is Lakers Talk. Here's Alan Sliwa.
Legacy is when you need no introductions. You walk in the room and everybody start buzzing.
What is going on, Laker fans? Laker fans, where you guys been? How long we got to wait before we do a show together? Laker fans, thank you for being a part of the show. Greatly appreciate it. I don't know about you guys, but not going to lie. It's been a nice couple of weeks. You know, you win a championship. You grab championship number 17. It's just, it's been a good vibe. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. We got a lot of things that we're going to cover. We finally kind of started getting some news here. By the way, it's just me and AD today. Just me and Anthony Davis. Look, I'm not saying that all these other players aren't extremely important to the Lakers, but right now we just got to focus on Anthony Davis in the background. We got a lot of things these last couple of days that have been coming up about potentially when the season's going to start. So we're gonna spend some time on that. We'll talk about too. Lakers have some. They got potentially some decisions to make here when it comes to some of these player options that are going to be there for the Lakers. So we'll get into that. So we got a lot of stuff to get into. All right, let's get started right away. By the way, you want to comment. I'll try and get to the comments as we go, and we'll take it from there. So let me start off with this. So potentially the 2021 season, I guess you're just going to call it, the 2020-2021 season could start as early as December 22nd. All right. So how does this have an effect on the Los Angeles Lakers? How does it affect the Los Angeles Lakers? And that's what I want to spend some time on. So first of all, let's just say this. Definitely a disadvantage for the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, if you really truly think about this from any other team's perspective in the NBA, the Lakers would be at the biggest disadvantage by starting on December 22nd, more than any other team, even more than Miami. And I just say that because the Lakers got so many veterans on this team. If you think about it, LeBron James is coming into his 18th season. Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Danny Green. You got a lot of players that are key pieces to this Lakers team that have been in the NBA for a long time. And I don't have to give you guys the date that the Lakers won championship number 17, but it was October 11th if you forgot. So with that in mind, this is incredibly quick turnaround. And I'm not saying the NBA shouldn't do it. There's the reasons of why they're doing it, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But if we can be real with each other, if they start December 22nd, it is no question about it a disadvantage to the Los Angeles Lakers more than any other team in the NBA, where a lot of other teams got a lot more rest. You know, you got teams like the Golden State Warriors that haven't played since March or whatever the case is. You got teams like the Clippers. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Clippers didn't get past the second round. So the Clippers have been on vacation here for months, right? Months. Lakers, they had some work to do. They were trying to get an NBA championship. I don't want to get into all that. No need to go back to the Nuggets post-game show or any of that stuff. We know how that all turned out. But definitely a disadvantage for the Los Angeles Lakers. What do you guys think, by the way? Do you guys like the idea of starting, December 22nd, or do you think that this is really going to hurt the Lakers and this isn't a good idea? So if you got a comment on that, feel free to do it. And if I like your comment, I'll read it. If I don't like your comment, I'll just pretend like I never saw it. Like, just completely pretend like I never even saw it. True Colors on YouTube says we'll destroy everyone regardless. True Colors is feeling good right now. True Colors he's got his chest out right now. He's got his chest out for a reason. Mello on YouTube wants it to be on MLK Day. So let me just kind of explain a couple things here. We know Estevan wants a fist bump right there. We didn't even win a game tonight. But listen, we're in the off season. We already won as many games as we can. Can't win any more. So you want a fist bump? I got you, man. I got you with a fist pump right there. Don't worry about that. But real quick, so the concept here about December 22nd, I'll explain to those. By the way, I just had Brian Windhorst on and Bobby Marks, and all of them explained everything. You can listen to all 2 hours of that Lakers Talk podcast on the ESPN app or on iTunes. There's a very big financial reason why they would start December 22nd. And the Lakers really are the only team, them and Miami. Maybe you want to throw in Denver and Boston because those were the last 4 teams left. Those are the only 4 teams that would really have a true effect on this. Everybody else, it doesn't affect them that much. But the difference potentially could be $500 million in revenue that the league misses out on if they don't start on December 22nd. So with that all being said, we're probably going to be watching Lakers basketball on December 22nd. To be honest with you, I think that's where it's kind of leaning, where it's going. And Brian Windhorst was mentioning the same thing. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to this, but Danny Green was on the Ringer podcast. This is his thoughts on what would happen if it did start on December 22nd.
Well, mine, I think most guys, if they say we start in December, I think they're like, I'm not going to be there. If I had to guess, because we have a lot of vets on our team. It's not like we have a bunch of young guys and rookies. We probably have like 3 or 4 young guys and rookies. We're fortunate enough to bring the same team back. We have Doe, who's on year 15, Dwight's year 16, Bron year 18, 17, DeVell. And these guys, we just played the whole season. Bron's been in the finals 10 years out of his 17 years, which is unbelievable mentally. It's training to do that. And to have that quick of a restart, I wouldn't expect to see him there. I wouldn't expect to see him probably for the first month of the season. He'll probably be working out with us, probably do some playing. But I just don't expect guys to want to be there or show up willingly. I think at this moment, it might be different in about 2 weeks where guys are like, all right, we get back in the gym.
All right, that sounds probably extreme. I mean, who knows? Danny Green obviously has a relationship with these guys, but would a player like LeBron James miss a month? I have no idea. But just getting a chance to watch LeBron James throughout his career, does that seem like a guy that would just be like, okay, well, I'm going to rest or I'm going to come in a month into the season? We'll have to wait and see. But that's Danny Green saying that. And it would have an effect on the Lakers. It definitely would. But I'll say this. If it is a December start, we know the reasons why. The reasons why are financially about $500 million in additional revenue if you start in December. Another reason why, they are trying to get the 2021-2022 season as best as they can back to a normal schedule. The NBA doesn't want to be competing with the NFL. They don't want to be competing with the summer months of people taking time off. They want to go back to their regular schedule. And this upcoming year is going to be so out of whack. Like, I have no idea how the Lakers are going to be playing games. Will they be at Staples Center? Will they go to an arena like Phoenix and play 3-4 games where it's the same team and it's Sacramento's there too, and all these teams I have no idea how they're going to do it. But whatever the case is, it's going to be like nothing we have ever seen before. And I'll say this about the Lakers. I think whatever it is, they'll figure it out. They'll adjust. They won't complain. Or maybe they'll complain, but at the end of the day, everybody's in, completely a different position. I mean, I'm sure the way you do your work on a day-to-day basis is different than it was before COVID-19. I know for me, work is completely different, and it's like that for everybody. So if there's a team that I think will make the proper adjustments, and if they got to start on December 22nd, and if they got to kind of figure things out from there, I'm confident that the Lakers will figure it out. And I know there's times I take shots at the Clippers. This is not taking a shot at the Clippers. It's the reality. There were certain teams that folded in that Orlando bubble, and there's certain teams that excelled. And I think the Lakers are a good example of that, where they were kind of dealt a tough hand and they rose to the occasion, where other teams that wasn't the case. So let's kind of leave it at that. Okay. So strategy change. Okay. That means the strategy for the Lakers will have to change if you're starting the season back up on December 22nd. By the way, real quick, it's kind of nice to be with you guys again. Got to be honest here. I mean, it's been like probably a couple weeks since I think I did a Lakers talk. And even right now, I was doing it on radio. And it's kind of nice to crack a mic again. It's kind of nice to be back here on social and talking Lakers basketball. Don't get me wrong. Had a nice, 8-10 days or so where this isn't what I was doing. And that was kind of nice as well. But I'm ready to go now. Some people take a full, they take a full off season. No. We don't got an off season. Before you know it, we're going to have training camp. Before you know it, NBA free agency. We got to get going here. I mean, by the way, I don't want you guys talking to me about the 17th NBA championship, okay? 17th. That's old news. I don't got time for the 17th NBA championship. I mean, right around the corner here, we're trying to get number 18. All right? So enough is enough here. Enough is enough. Championship number 7. I see photos here, championship. That's old news. Championship number 17. What are we, the Celtics? Celtics have 17. Trying to compare ourselves to the Celtics? Please. Championship's over. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I'm already I'm already ready for 18. By the way, I got a lot of people here commenting. Can you guys do me a favor? I got people saying roll call. Can you just let me determine when it's roll call? All right? I don't need help on roll call. I got roll call. I'm a vet in the game. We've been doing this for a little while, okay? Do not tell me where you're tuning in from. I'll tell you when it's time to tune in, or where you could tell me where you're tuning in from. Okay, let's go to the strategy change. Strategy change. So how does this change for the Los Angeles Lakers for the upcoming season if they do start on December 22nd? I'll tell you this. You're probably going to have a lot of young players getting a lot of minutes to start off the season. It's probably going to have to be, a lot of Alex Caruso, and we don't really even have that many young players, but Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, players like that are going to pick up a lot of these minutes, and that Anthony Davis. And that's not to say that, LeBron and the rest of the gang won't play, but a lot changes eventually. Everybody's putting where they're tuning in from. Unbelievable. I'm not going to read them. I'm just not going to read them until I'm ready for roll call. All right. Unbelievable. But I think this season we will see a player like LeBron James pacing himself a little bit differently. A player like, let's use Rondo as an example. You got to imagine that the vets on this team will 100% pace themselves differently than they would have if it was a regular offseason. If it was a regular offseason, a completely different story, but it's not a regular offseason. Do you want to see LeBron James going hard in December 22nd in the middle of December when you still got 70 games left or 72 games or whatever they're going to end up doing, and then that entire postseason run? So I do think strategically for the Lakers, things are going to look a lot different this year if they do start on December 22nd. By the way, another strategy that will change. What's the purpose of home court? I mean, Lakers last season, this whole time I talked about how when we were going into last season, I was like, well, the regular season is not going to be important. The number one seed won't be important. Well, the Lakers played for the number one seed, got it, and then unfortunately, didn't have it to their advantage, but they still end up winning the championship. But if there's ever a year where home court doesn't mean anything, wouldn't it be this year? Do you think we're going to be filling up Staples Center by the time the season's over? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think the strategy for the Lakers will completely be different than it has in other years. And I think that goes for some of the reasons that I'm referring to there. Okay, let's do some roll call here. Where are you guys tuning in from? Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I think I saw Indonesia on there, Santa Ana. By the way, let me tell this. I was completely pressured into doing roll call this evening. Don't appreciate that. All right? I don't appreciate that. Tell me where you guys are tuning in from. I thought I saw a couple of the Santa Ana. I think Indonesia. I think I saw somebody else from Tokyo. All right, let's see what we got here. Florida. Thank you for being a part of the show. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Fantastic area. Thank you for being a part of the show. Porter Ranch, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Corvallis, Oregon. Somebody is still in the bubble. We're still going with the bubble joke even after, or the Orlando bubble's over. Okay, that's not a bad one. That's actually a pretty good one. Long Beach, thank you for being a part of the show. Lancaster, Calabasas, Arlington, Texas, Oxnard, Porter Ranch, Arkansas, Singapore, Dubai. Thank you all for being a part of the show. Thank you all for being a part of the show. Philippines, Highland Park. So you guys keep these things coming in. I'm going to get going to the next topic, and then I'll keep reading these as we go. Okay. You guys see those rumors? Somebody's saying they're at Staples Center. Just got liars on this whole feed. Everybody's just a liar on here. Orange County, thank you for being a part of the show. Colombia, Egypt, thank you for making an appearance on this show. A couple fist pumps for those Laker fans out there. Got AD back here. Okay. So, you guys see these rumors about the Clippers interested in Rajon Rondo? How about that? How about the Los Angeles Clippers interested in Rajon Rondo? Mark Stein, by the way, of the New York Times had reported this. Clippers trying to get their hands on Rondo. So give everybody just a quick idea. Rondo has a player option on his deal worth $2.7 million. Rondo 100% earned himself. He's got a player option, so he can opt out. He earned himself some additional dollars. Tip your cap to him. He deserves it. He was such a big piece for the Lakers. Pittsburgh, thank you for tuning in. He was such a big piece for the Lakers on that championship run when he came back in that Houston series. I don't blame him at all trying to get some extra cash. All right. Artesia, thank you for being a part of the show, along with Chicago and everybody else out there. So let me say this. If you're the Los Angeles Clippers, you are 100% trying to get a guy like Rajon Rondo. I get it. I understand it. By the way, that's a smart move. That's what they should be doing, because one of the things that the Clippers did not have, they had zero leadership on that roster, and they didn't have a veteran that could kind of bring everybody together. And what is Rondo? Rondo's a true point guard. Rondo is one of those players. Studio City, thank you for being a part of the show. Rondo is one of those players that, he comes in and he's trying to dish to other players, and he's huge off the court as he is on the court, and he's a guy that wants to be in film room, and he's a true leader. I mean, this is a player that you want on your roster and your team. And I don't have to sit here and tell Laker fans that he was a big part of this Lakers championship, because he was. So maybe you weren't a fan of Rajon Rondo, but by the time the playoffs came in, you saw, man, this guy's valuable against the Rocket series. And then, you know what? He's valuable in the series against the Denver Nuggets, valuable in the finals against Miami Heat. You saw that, okay, this is a guy that his nickname is Playoff Rondo. There's a reason for it, and he delivered for the Lakers. I get why the Clippers would want that kind of a player. They need that kind of a player. I mean, they're desperate for a player like that. Iceland, thank you for being a part of the show. But let me just say this, if you're Rajon Rondo. If you got a chance to choose between the Clippers and the Lakers, who would you choose? Well, you just won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. You know exactly what you're getting with Anthony Davis and LeBron James from a leadership perspective. You know exactly what you're getting with the organization and Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and head coach Frank Vogel. I almost have no doubt, if money's not an issue, you're coming back to the Los Angeles Lakers, and you got another chance to win an NBA championship. But there could be some scenarios that come into play. Bobby Marks, who was on the show, talked about how if the cap stays the same, which is I think 135, then that hurts the Lakers. But if it goes up to 138, 139, something like that, that helps the Lakers, because then they could pay a little bit more for Rajon Rondo. So with all that in mind, I hope we keep Rajon Rondo. I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to say. Armenia, thank you for being a part of the show. Greatly appreciate that. The Rondo part of this, it almost kind of reminds me of, do you guys remember this when, you guys remember during the trade deadline where I kept barking about how the Lakers got to go get they got to go get Marcus Morris, right? I was like, no, go get him from New York because you need a player like that. He's actually a perfect player that you're going to need against the Clippers. And I kept saying, go get him. And I thought the Clippers got him for one reason and one reason only, was to stop the Lakers from getting him. They thought, okay, we don't need him as much as the Lakers do, but we'd love to have him so the Lakers don't have him. And then, of course, he goes to the Clippers, and Rob Pelinka's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. He goes and gets Markieff Morris and doesn't give up any assets for him, gets him in the buyout market. And I only bring that up because the Clippers desperately need Rondo. They need a player like that. But the Lakers need him too. And certainly that's a player that I really hope ends up with the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, let me read some of these comments here. Why would they want our players, says Slime Peso on YouTube. Very, very simple. First of all, they need that type of player. Second of all, not only do you get a player, you take an asset away from a team that you're probably going to eventually, have to go through to win an NBA championship. Let's see what else we got here. I don't understand the Mickey Mouse ring. I don't understand that. What am I missing here? We'll leave that one alone. DC, thank you for tuning in. See what else we got. Darth Fanatic on Periscope says, no way Lakers should pay him over $3 million a year. No way. He'll probably get more than that. I'll tell you that right now. And he'll be worth more than that. And if it's not here, and let's say money becomes a big part for him because he's already got 2 NBA championships, he could probably get that money somewhere else. So something to keep in mind. By the way, let me save this one for a quick second. But I asked Bobby Marks and Brian Windhorst. I asked them both in the show tonight, what kind of veteran player you think would be a good fit for the Lakers and would be realistic. And they both gave me names I wasn't expecting. So let me hold off on that for a quick second. But I'll tell you guys in a few minutes here. So let me first go through this. Player options for the Lakers. Okay, which one is the top priority, you think, of these player options? And I know it's a player option, which means, okay, well, if it's a player option, well, Lakers don't really have much of a choice here. But no, they can. They can offer more money or whatever the case is. So here are the 4 players that have player options on this team that are of significance. Plus, Anthony Davis, I'm not going to talk about because I think AD will eventually sign. It's just going to be a matter of how much he signs for and everything else. So here are the 4 players. Do you guys know the 4 players that have player options? Why don't you guys list them down? Let's see if you guys have been doing your homework. If you haven't been doing your homework, I want you to log out. I want you to close off your laptop or your phone. And I want you to, I don't have anything else. You could stay with us. Stay with us. All right, what are the 4 players? What do we got here? Rondo, correct. That's one of them. KCP, that's the second one. That's right. There's 2 more. Do you guys know the other player options? Third one is JaVale McGee. Fourth one is Avery Bradley. Okay, those are the 4 players that have player options. Okay, JaVale McGee, I think is going to sign that player option because really, where's he going to get that opportunity again? I think this has been a good gig for him, so I think he's going to opt in. Avery Bradley, I could actually see Avery Bradley opting back in as well. And trying to kind of restart what he started with the Lakers last season. And then you got Rondo and KCP, the other 2 players that have player options. Both of these players are significant for the Lakers. These are look, KCP was fantastic in the playoffs for the Lakers. I think he's going to demand a little bit more money. Now, granted, the Lakers have been paying him for 3 years, so it's not like the Lakers haven't made KCP a very wealthy man. Hopefully he remembers that. But then you also got Rajon Rondo. So this is a question I ask Laker fans out there. Who is most important on that list to bring back? I'm going to take JaVale McGee out of the equation because I don't think anybody's going to say JaVale. Between Avery Bradley, you could probably take that one out of the equation as well because you just won a championship without using Avery Bradley. Between Rajon Rondo and KCP, which of those 2 players do you think is most important to bring back? And maybe the Lakers are able to bring both of them back, by the way. That can very well happen. But which of those two players you think is should be the top priority of those player options? KCP or Rajon Rondo? Not an easy answer, by the way. Both of these guys were very effective for the Lakers. So let me read off some of these. I got a lot of Rondos, got some KCPs in here. Rondos. This is pretty split. Not going to lie. There's a lot of both players. Paul says KCP by far. Okay, I'll give you guys my answer. KCP was big for the Lakers. Big for the Lakers. He did it on both sides of the floor. He hit some big shots. I thought he was great for the Lakers, obviously in that championship run, that playoff run. But let me say this. Man, I thought Rondo was a difference maker. I thought Rondo was the third best player on this team throughout the playoffs. I thought Rajon Rondo brings something so unique to the Lakers that they are so desperate for, which is a player that can come off the bench and still play quarterback. He can give LeBron some minutes on the bench. He has an incredible amount of just a veteran, right? Like his knowledge of the game is amazing. What he brings to the table off the court as well is amazing. So it's a tough one because, and I'm not saying the Lakers have to choose between the two players. I don't know how things are going to play out, but I will say if you got to bring one player back that has a player option, my hope is Rondo comes back over all of them. And that's kind of tough to say, and I almost have to convince myself of that because KCP was so great for the Lakers. But I feel like KCP is more replaceable than what AD or what Rajon Rondo was doing for the Lakers in that role. So that's my thought process there. VE on YouTube says Bron stepped up in other areas, defense with Rondo running the offense. Absolutely. Carl Satterfield on YouTube says nobody changes the pace like Rondo. King Vortex on YouTube, KCP was good 80% this season. Rondo was good 20%, which might be right, but the 20% he was good was the most important part of the season. So, I guess you'd rather have your player play his best during the postseason, where really at the end of the day, the regular season for a team like the Lakers is just kind of semantics until you get to the postseason because all you're trying to do is win an NBA championship. Okay, so let me do this. We're already getting close to a half hour of doing the show, and I'm on the clock here. Okay, what do you think? I'm just gonna keep working for free. Okay, so Bobby Marks said the player that he said would be a good fit and realistic of potentially coming to the Lakers. Look, we're just spitballing names that are veterans, maybe chasing the championship. This guy said Serge Ibaka. I'm like, Serge Ibaka? Serge Ibaka would be amazing on the Lakers. That would be an amazing fit on the Lakers. So he threw me off with that. And then I asked the same question to Brian Windhorst, and he said, who'd Windhorst say? Paul Millsap. Again, I'm like, okay, that would be a great fit as well. Now, between the two, I would love Serge Ibaka, but this is the one thing that I will say about either of those players. Lakers are in a position right now where I think there's going to be a lot of vets that want to chase a ring and come play with the Lakers. And it's not a toxic situation. Like, this is a good situation that the Lakers are in. This is a situation where, you got the right pieces. You feel like ownership knows what they're doing. You feel like Pelinka knows what he's doing. Frank Vogel is a coach that players like playing for and is willing to have a conversation with a lot of these players to kind of get their input. Then you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, two fantastic leaders that are still two of the best players in the NBA that, I think there's a lot of veterans, whether it's a guy like Serge Ibaka or a guy like Paul Millsap, that look at the Lakers situation and say, yeah, I'm down to come play for a franchise like the Los Angeles Lakers and try and chase an NBA championship, Lakers are just in a good spot. So I don't know what more you guys want me to tell you, but I got excited when I heard those two names. I was like, man, that's fantastic. Okay. Somebody said that I got big time because I said that the show's got to end here pretty soon. I don't know how we put those two together. What happened here? What happened here? Got big time. I'm hanging out with everybody. What are you talking about? In Palenka we trust, says Kai Lopez. That is a very, very wise message right there. Okay. Let me get into my last topic before I get into any questions that you guys might have for me. Okay. How you guys enjoying the chip? How you guys enjoying the championship? Honestly, like that kind of happened really fast. 1 second I'm on here with you guys and I'm complaining about a loss or something along those lines, or is the NBA going to get a chance to finish off the season? Take a step back. This is what I want everybody to do real quick. Stop typing for a second. Everybody stop typing. Stop typing. Let's take a second with me here. All right, let's go back memory lane and let's reflect a little bit. Okay? Nobody listens to me. I say stop typing. Everybody types even more. Okay, Canada, thank you for being a part of the show. So Lakers trade for Anthony Davis. You get Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Magic, we know earlier, stepped down. Lakers are trying to figure things out as they kind of go. LeBron and Anthony Davis is how you start the season. Season rolls on. All of a sudden, we're about 50 games in or whatever we were in. I don't know, 60 games in, whatever the case was. Lakers got the number 1 record in the Western Conference. They take care of, they obviously take care of the Los Angeles Clippers. They take care of the Milwaukee Bucks. All Laker fans are feeling good. Season stops. And somebody's obviously referencing here as well. I'll reference it as well. The incredibly shocking and hurtful news of Kobe, Gigi, 7 others on the helicopter. I mean, you got all this stuff that was going on. Now all of a sudden, I remember even being at Staples Center, the game after Kobe Bryant, the first game Lakers played, it was against Portland, I think it was. It's just like none of it made sense, and it won't make sense. But this is the season that the Lakers are having. Then the season stops because a freaking virus is taking over the world, and we're still 8 months later, and the virus is still taking over the world. Then there's a concept that comes into this Orlando bubble, and everybody goes to Orlando, and 22 teams are going to be there to try and stop the virus from coming in so they could finish off the season. What is this, a movie? I mean, none of this makes sense. Then the Lakers are there. They beat Portland. They beat Houston. They beat Denver. Then they take care of the Miami Heat, and the Lakers are world champions. And it's like everything just happened so quick. And I think we got to enjoy it and appreciate it for a second, and then it was just over. There was no parade. You didn't get a chance to, obviously get excited and say, okay, well, we'll be at Staples Center when they're, putting up the banner or whatever the case is. Those days will come, but I really, really hope. I hope you guys are enjoying this championship, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this championship, because at the end of the day, this was a crazy, crazy season. And you should be, sitting out there with your chest out, rocking your Laker gear, and just say, what are you going to do? 17 NBA championships. I mean, but then you got to turn the page. Now I'm already ready. We'll turn the page. We're going for championship number 18. 17, I don't even remember 17 anymore. I have no idea what you guys are talking about, 17. We're looking at 18. Jay Blitz says Clippers will always run LA. Jay, my man, if you run 3 streets in a row, that would be quite the accomplishment. Jay, if you can, please just get out of the second round before you get into this conversation. You know what I mean? Like, save this message board for franchises that have maybe been to the NBA Finals. You know what I'm talking about? Jay? Come on, Jay. Come on, man. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself right here. I mean, listen, I'm always happy to have anybody come into the conversation. But if you're down 10-1 in games to 11, you probably shouldn't be running your mouth. You know what I mean? You probably shouldn't be running. You know what I'm talking about, Jay. Jay knows what I'm talking about. All right, Laker fans. Questions. Throw in some questions here. Let's get to some questions. If you got any questions, let me know right now. If not, then that's it. I'm going to go have dinner at home, enjoy the rest of the night, maybe throw on a little Netflix. I'm watching The Wire right now. I don't know if you guys have seen The Wire. Ireland's been talking about The Wire for years, so I'm right in the middle of The Wire right now. Fantastic show. If you got questions, let me get your questions in right now. Kelly Oubre. You know, I actually don't know his position. I don't know if he's a free agent. I don't know what that is. So I don't know about Kelly Oubre. Tim Hardaway Jr., I'm not 100% sure as well. I love Tim Hardaway Jr. Watching him in Dallas, he's a fantastic outside shooter. All right, let's see what we got here. Did I get Sasha? Alan Dimes on YouTube. Still no Sasha, guys. Still no Sasha. I'm 0 for 40 with Sasha. Just accept that for now. What seed will the Lakers be next year? This is VE on YouTube. You know, I got no idea. And I don't know if it's going to be important. If home court advantage doesn't matter anymore because you're not in arenas, who cares, right? Like, Lakers walked into Orlando, they fought for home court, and then they didn't get to use that to their advantage, and they still won the NBA championship. So I don't know where Lakers will end up, but I don't think it's that important as well. Read a couple more of these here. Dan Inspiration says, bro, Lonzo signed with Clutch Sports. Do you think Lakers interested in Lonzo? Probably not. No. I'm rooting for Lonzo. I like his style. I really do. But no, I don't think so. Darth Fanatic, did you see Braun having wine with Tristan Thompson? I did see that. I don't know if that will mean anything for the Lakers, but I did see that. Obviously, one of his brothers there that he had a lot of long years with in Cleveland. Can we trade Kuzma for Schroeder? Sonny Collins. Let me just say this real quick. When it comes to Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, any of these players on this Lakers roster, I'm going to say this, and I mean it with the utmost respect. Whatever it takes to go get championship number 18, I'm all in. If it makes sense, if it's the right thing to do, then go do it. Because you got LeBron in his 18th season, already got one championship. What if LeBron James came to the Lakers and in 2 of the first 3 years that he's a Los Angeles Lakers, he goes back-to-back with the Lakers, with Anthony Davis, not only ties the Boston Celtics at number 17, but then ends up surpassing the Boston Celtics with 18 NBA championships. Do what you got to do. This is your window. So whatever it takes to win, you do it. Because this might be your greatest chance to go back-to-back, and, who knows? It's not easy to just continue to compete for championships, even though I think the Lakers, are obviously going to keep that in mind for what star would eventually replace LeBron James. I don't know how long LeBron's going to go. LeBron can go for another 3-4 years, and we'll see what happens. Good point by Gary Rubens. Gary Rubens says, we need the banner during a Clippers game. Are you saying we need to put the banner up during a Clippers game? We should put up banners to block the Clipper banners that are up. Because I think they have a couple Pacific Division banners that are up. They're blocking our Laker banners. We should block their playoff participation banners that could be up at Staples Center. That's all I'm saying, Jay. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. Mello says Sliwa still runs Highland Park. Let me tell you guys right now. I need about 5 to 7 minutes of stretching. That's all I need. Let me put up 8 to 10 just practice shots. Just let me get loose a little bit. And I don't care who's on this channel right now. and I don't care who's on this chat, it's not even a game. Couple pump fakes, couple crossovers. Don't make me get out to Highland Park right now. I'll bring my own ball. It will get ugly. All right, guys. You don't want Sliwa right now. You don't want Sliwa right now. I actually haven't played pickup ball since the pandemic. I can only imagine how bad my game would be. I'll probably have to stretch for like an hour. All right, let me read a couple more of these, and then the show's over, guys. How many chips? Sonny Collins on Facebook. How many chips can we get out of the King? Already got one. Man, if the man delivered 2 championships with the Lakers, I mean, first of all, it's anything from here is icing on the cake. In my opinion, he already accomplished. Came to LA, came to the Los Angeles Lakers, and brought an NBA championship. Anything more from here is icing on the cake, and it's house money. But if the man brought 2, Sonny, damn, that would be impressive. G Life is asking me if I'm playing with eye protection. Took one elbow to the eye, and that's it. It stays with the channel forever. Unbelievable. All right. I'm going to read one more of these, and then we're done. Dominique Cheney says, could you see Mello joining the Lakers? Probably not. Probably not, to be honest with you. Probably not. We'll see what the Lakers try to bring in, but I don't think it would be a guy like Carmelo Anthony. All right, Laker fans, thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to get back on here with you guys. Always great to get these chats in and put these videos together. I got another Lakers talk show coming up on Monday, 7 to 9 p.m., day before the election, actually. 7 to 9 p.m., right here on 710. So when that show's done, then I'll come back on social. But join me on Lakers Talk on 710. You can get on the ESPN app or on iTunes. If you want to catch my full 2-hour Lakers Talk show that I did on 710, you can catch it on the ESPN app or on iTunes. Just type in Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa, Google that, and the show will come up, and you'll get my interview with Brian Windhorst and Bobby Marks as well. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Stop talking about championship number 17. It's over. Get over it. Got 18 coming up. Got work to do. All right, Laker fans. Good stuff. Thank you for being part of the show. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night.